All right, in this video, we are looking at getting into animations and character rotations, and this should be a relatively short video. Um, what we want to do is, when we last left off, you saw that our character is now actually a model of an actual little dude, but he just kind of slides around, so that's not very good. And remember, we attach him to the cube, so his hitbox is kind of a little bit big for his body and stuff. We can always adjust that after. But now what we want to do is we actually want to make this guy look like he's walking. And we're going to get into more advanced animation techniques later. But for now, you will notice inside the prefab object called walking, if we just click this little arrow, we can actually see the parts to this particular model. And you'll see inside there is a animation sequence that we can just preview here with the play button. You can see that we've got a walking sequence, a walking cycle. And it shows us that it walks pretty good. That's how we want them to walk. So to apply this, we're going to do it a kind of a quick and dirty way of applying it. I'm going to right click. Actually, I'm just going to take this out of here and I'm going to hold the option key or whatever, and I'm going to make a copy. I didn't want to do that. I didn't want to make a copy of the whole thing. Actually, let's delete that. Let's just take the animation part and attach it to the character model. So what I'm doing is I'm just simply dragging out the animation clip and I'm attaching it to the character model. Okay, so let's see if that worked. It did. We can tell that it worked because we can see here that the character model now has an animator attached, and that animator is attached to the controller character model. We have this little icon that has shown up. This is the animator controller. We can open it up and we can take a look. What this is here is the animator adjuster. Okay, and this is basically showing us what is happening. We'll get more into this after. It's a little bit advanced. But we're going to just head back to our scene and take a look. Now, I already know what the problem is going to be. But watch when we first play it, you should see him go through his walk cycle one time. And then he stops. Okay? And the reason for that is because this particular walk cycle, it has not been set to loop. All right? We want this to loop over and over and over again so that he's basically always walking on the spot, which, again, later we'll get into different states like idle state and attack states and all that. But for now, we just want him walking on the spot. So to fix that, when we go to the original animation sequence, we have to click this little edit button here. And when we do that, you'll see that this all becomes available for us to make changes. And if we scroll down, we want to turn on loop time like that. And we want to hit apply at the very bottom of that. And that will apply a loop to his walk cycle. So now when I play it and test it, you'll see that he just walks basically on the spot forever. Whoa, that was a little glitch. The problem is he still only faces forward all the excuse me, all the time, because we currently do not have him changing direction as he moves. And in order for us to do that, we have to code in a little bit of math to get this guy to face the correct direction. So, excuse me, we're going to go back to assets and we're going to go into our scripts. We're going to go into our move controller for us to actually do this. So inside our move controller, we are going to see that we have our key code, sort of a WASD that we set up originally. And what we need to do is we need to actually define a new variable because we need to tell it what we are rotating. So we're going to put a public game object. And let me tell you, game object is going to be used quite a bit when you are creating games. And I'll explain what it does in a second. We're going to put our hero. Oops, capital H. I want to do camel case. Our hero is the new variable, and it's a game object type of variable. It's public also, and we called it our hero. Now, what we're going to do to make this actually work is when somebody presses the A key, we have our character turn left, which makes sense because A corresponds to the left direction. But we also want the model to rotate left as well. So in order to do that, what we need to do is we got to put our hero, because that's what we want to change, dot transform, okay, because we're going to transform something about its position, local, which means basically in the direction, in its local space, rotation, that's what we want to affect, equals, and this is where the math sort of part of it comes in, we are going to use a quaternion. Quaternion dot Euler. Now I'm going to be honest, I cannot explain this equation to you, but a quaternion is a way of defining an object's location in 3D space. And Euler's law, I believe it's Euler's law, was a type of was a scientific or mathematical equation that helps to define where this object is in 3D space. If you want more information on that, you can look it up. Again, just remember the term quaternion Euler, dot Euler, and now we need to put the coordinates of how he is going to rotate in 3D space. So I'm going to put 0 for the X, 270 for the Y, and 0 for the Z. All right, and what that should do, we'll test it out. He should rotate left, because if you think of him facing forward is basically 0 degrees, a left rotation, if we went 45, 90, wait, I'm getting mixed up, sorry. 90, 180, 270, so that should be left. If my math is correct, we're going to save it. We're going to come back over here. We're going to test out that left position to see if we got it. Oh, I know what happened. We can't test it, and I'm going to show you what we have to do. This is where the game object comes into play here. It even tells us here our hero has not been assigned. So if we go to where the movement is attached right now on the player cube, you will see now we have a new variable that's appeared. It's a script. It's our hero, which is right here, our hero. But what it's asking, and this is how a game variable works. We need to tell it what our hero is. So what we do in this case with a game object is we actually take the character model, which is the character, and we're going to attach it to our hero. Basically what we're telling Unity is our hero is this character model, which is this guard that's walking. All right, so now if we play it, should be attached now. And when we press left, yes, he turns left. Problem is, now he stays turned left because we have to go in and adjust for the other directions. All right, so we're going to go into our move controller one more time here. We can actually copy this line because it's going to be the same. The only thing that's going to change about it is the rotation. So we're going to paste it after each one of these lines for each of the keys. So WASD, paste it in. And the second one, because he'll be walking to the right, should be 90 because it's the opposite, 180 degrees from 270. Hopefully that makes sense. Forward or up is going to be 0. Like I said, he's already facing forward, so it's 0, 0, 0. And the other one has to be 180. All right, and that should work. And let's test it out. So let's play that and test it. Do 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 do. Yes, sir. He's walking in all directions. This is good. Now, we got one other little issue. Might as well cover it in the same video. What happens when we press 2 keys at once? Let's say I press A and W. He just kind of slides in that direction, and it doesn't look very good. So if we want to make this a little more accurate, we want to have rotations of 45 degrees. It's going to look a little bit better. So we might as well do that now too. And rotations require us to use an AND operator. Okay, so we are going to use the AND symbol, and I'm going to show you how we're going to use it, how we're going to implement it. Okay, it might take me few tries to get the rotation angle correct, but we are going to go back into Move Controller, and underneath all of this we are going to put an if statement again, and the keys that we're going to start with, let's say here, are W and D, so up and right. So if the input of this WD, take that bracket off, and so double ampersand like that, meaning if that key and the D key are pressed. Okay, make sure you have this right, because if it's not right, it's not going to work. Okay, should look like this. So bracket, input, get key W, and input, get key, key code, bracket, key code D, double bracket to close off. And then let's start with what's going to happen in that case. And what we can actually do is we can steal the our hero transform local rotation, that same line, because that's actually the only thing we need to change here is the rotation angle. Everything else will be controlled by the actual movement that the character already has. Okay, so let's think about this. If you're pressing W and D, he is going at a angle of like, if he's facing forward, he's going in a northeastern direction. That should be 45 degrees. And the reason is it's halfway between 0 and 90. Right? It's 45 degrees. Let's test that. I just want to make sure my math is correct. Save it. Test it. So W and D, yes. Now you will see when we press W and D, he walks in a diagonal. I'll show you. It's right here. That's what we want. Okay? Let's put in the other ones. Let's copy and paste this whole chunk of code. I'm going to paste it 3 times because we're going to do all of our rotations right now. Okay, so we got W and D. The second one would be, let's say D and S. Oops, D and S. Let's go with S and A. S. So down and left. We're just going around the sort of in order here. A and W, all the way around. So we've got all the rotations. Okay, A and W. A and W, like my favorite place to eat. No. So D and S, if you think of D and S, that's southeast direction. That would be let me figure this out. It'd be between 90 and 180, so 135 sounds right. And then we got S and A, which would be a southwest direction. Okay, so that is between 270 and 180. So that is going to be 225. And then we've got A and W, which is a northwest direction, which is between 360, which is also 0, and 270. So I believe 315 would work there. And let's save it. And let's test it. Yes, he is now working in all angles. All right, so hopefully that makes sense. We're going to stop the video at that point right there. Hopefully that makes sense. What we're doing is basically applying a rotation every time we use our keys, which will obviously make the character rotate and respond to the directions that we give based on the keys that we press. And again, basically all we're doing is rotating the model when those keys are pressed. And so that gives us the impression that the character has changed directions in the game. Stay tuned for the next video where we get into some cool stuff. We are moving right along and this game is starting to come together. Now we're going to get into some really nice graphical type stuff, start to make it look pretty. So stay tuned. You don't want to miss the next one.